You're listening to CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living. To learn more about who we are, what we do, and how we do it, call toll-free 1-866-928-3310, and we'll send you out a no-obligation information kit absolutely free. 866-928-3310. The CFRN Emini Futures Cast is now on Stitcher. Listen to us on your iPhone, Android phones, BlackBerry, and WebOS phones. Stitcher is smart radio for your phone. Find it in your app store or at Stitcher.com. Stitcher Smart Radio, the smarter way to listen to radio.
Are you ready, Steve? Andy? Yeah! Bert? Well, all right, fellas. Well, let's go!
You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Today's broadcast is brought to you by Audible. Get a free audiobook download at www.audibletrial.com/CFRN. Over 85,000 titles. Choose from mystery, romance, religion, science, technology, business, New York Times bestsellers, even children's books. You name it, Audible has it. With 85,000 titles to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect audiobook for yourself or to give as a gift, and it's absolutely free. Just point your browser to audibletrial.com/CFRN. That's audibletrial.com/CFRN. And become a part of the audiobook revolution by downloading your free audiobook today. audibletrial.com/CFRN.
Hey, trader, want to get rich quick? Well, good luck with that. If, on the other hand, you actually want to learn how to trade, the place to be is www.cfrn.net. Tune in Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern for our daily devotional, and then spend the next 3 hours learning how it's done from professional traders who actually trade for a living. That's www.cfrn.net. Every trading day from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. CFRN, a community of believers who trade for a living.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN Emini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things Emini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro, and even T-bills. Joining us today from our studios in Boston, Mr. Michael Bork. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, first day of November 2018. Just come off a rough month. Not for us. It was actually a great month. Right home about kind of month. But it's the first of the month. Prices should be climbing. Crude, not so much. Anyway. Welcome to the show. Sorry about the delayed entry. Hey, that's showbiz. All right. If you're returning, welcome back. If you're here for the first time, a special welcome to you. We're glad to have you with us in our audience. Thanks for being here. Now, I've got a chart up of the crude market. Normally, I have the S&P 500. Today, crude. We've dropped precipitously. Zone, spiked that zone real good. That is the lowest weekly zone. So we do expect crude to close the week at 63.70 or above. Like that. Yeah. So we'll see how that plays out. On the Logic 247 last night, we did say to consider selling 64, or this morning. I beg your pardon. It was during the 11 o'clock 30-minute candle from 11 to 11:30. We had suggested selling 64.50. Target was 64.20, $300 per contract. There has been no exit signal as of yet. Nor would we expect one. Just a complete free fall. In fact, it dropped well over $1,000 per contract, $1,500 per contract available. Now, we still have 21 minutes left in the life of this candle. A bullish harami setting up. We'll see how it finishes up at the end of the half hour. We'll revisit this and take a good look. So anyway, we're glad you're here, whoever you are, wherever you are. If you're returning, welcome back. If you're here for the first time, a special welcome to you. We're just glad you're here. If you can't see that chart I was talking about, go to our homepage at CFRN.net. On the right-hand side of the page, click the big microphone, follow the instructions, and you'll exchange 30 seconds for 30 days. That's right. Today's the only day that magic happens. 30 seconds for 30 days. It's not quite the same trade-off if you do it tomorrow. Then it'll be 30 seconds for 29 days. So do it today. You'll be able to see the charts, participate in the discussions in the chat box, all that. Now, if you can't load the go to youtube.com/CFRN/live. We broadcast a dual redundant stream on YouTube each day. So if the go-to ever refuses to go to, then you go to youtube.com/CFRN/live. Got it? Got it. Got a little bit of news for you. Let's take a peek under the hood and see what's going on. Consensus, the software company established by Ethereum co-founder Joseph Lubin, has acquired struggling space startup Planetary Resources. The New York-based company said it will now operate its space initiatives out of Planetary Resources, former facility in Redmond, Washington. We've heard that name before. The two sides did not share the financial details of the asset purchase transaction, but it is safe to assume Consensus did not pay a lot. When Planetary Resources launched in 2012, the company promised to usher in an age of private entrepreneurship in the solar system. It said that it planned to expand humanity's access to metals and minerals worth trillions of dollars and receive the backing of many notable tech figures such as Google's Larry Page and Eric Schmidt. However, by the start of this year, the company had failed to secure much needed additional funding, leading to its decision to downsize its workforce and indefinitely delay its first asteroid prospecting mission. Now, this is something we talked about back then. Mining asteroids as they go zipping about the solar system. Putting a little bot up there to mine for precious metals, and who knows what else they might find. Now it will be up to Lubin to prove he can become the Elon Musk of the cryptocurrency world by reviving Planetary Resources, bringing deep space capability into the consensus ecosystem reflects our belief in the potential for Ethereum to help humanity craft new societal rule systems through automated trust and guaranteed execution. See what he said. And it reflects our belief in democratizing and decentralizing space endeavors to unite our species and unlock untapped human potential. Sounds like a dream. We look forward to sharing our plans and how to join us on this journey in the months ahead. Ooh, this is one to watch. This is one to watch. Auckland-based cryptocurrency investment platform McCryptosaver has announced it is changing its name to Vemba. The rebranding decision coincides with the announcement that the New Zealand government's innovation arm, Callaghan Innovation, has agreed to back Vemba with R&D funding. The startup, which was originally founded as My Bitcoin Saver back in 2014, now claims to have 5,616 clients. This is a truly significant investment from Callaghan and a real show of faith in the future of this very exciting asset class, according to the CEO at Vemba. The money will go towards new key features for our expanding service. We will use it to build secure, multi-signature crypto wallets for our users, and we're also looking into expanding the range of cryptocurrencies available to them beyond Bitcoin and beyond Ethereum. After the investment was announced earlier this week, controversy erupted over reports that the government had spent taxpayers' money on a Bitcoin company. However, Vemba issued a clarification stating that Callaghan Innovation had only approved a grant for 40% of the estimated cost of one of its projects, which was valued at roughly 315,000 New Zealand dollars in total. Yesterday, the cryptocurrency ecosystem celebrated the passage of 10 years since Satoshi Nakamoto announced the publication of the Bitcoin white paper. Hardware wallet manufacturer Ledger Hardware Wallet chose to mark the occasion by unveiling a new limited edition device. The Ledger Nano S White Paper Edition is meant as an homage to this iconic date, and its white casing and special engraving, offering the same features as our standard device. It comes with the original white paper in a made-for-the-occasion box. Oh, this is going to be the year. This Christmas. According to reports from Iran, the head of the country's passive defense organization, one Brigadier General Gholamariza Zalal, described cryptocurrency as a double-edged sword for the regime in a recent TV interview. Unsurprisingly, the government wants to use the technology to bypass international financial sanctions, but fears it could also loosen its control of the economic activities of its citizens. Our major problem here is the US dollar, because the United States uses its national currency to control any country's SWIFT operations, the general added. So we should reduce dependence on the dollar and replace it with another currency, possibly a cryptocurrency. Well, what are you giving this Christmas? I already told you, don't buy anything until I show you what CFRN is going to offer. If you want to light up their face and their faith, hold on to your money. I mean, you can go buy more socks, right? But if you want to light up their face and light up their faith, you hang on. Give me one more day, maybe two, to get a landing page so you can go and look at it and see it and know exactly what I'm talking about. Now, for those folks on your list who might not appreciate this very, very special gift, well, here's another idea. At the Bitcoin.com store, they are revamping the entire site with the hottest Bitcoin merchandise, gear, art, hardware devices. They have it all. They are relentlessly adding new items to the store's vast supply of cryptocurrency-focused products. Yesterday, in parallel with the 10th anniversary of that first white paper, the Bitcoin.com store has partnered with the gift card service eGifter to offer customers a wide variety of gift cards. Now, the alliance between Bitcoin and eGifter will provide the shop's visitors with the ability to purchase hundreds of gift cards with Bitcoin Cash. Essentially, the eGifter marketplace has been tethered to the Bitcoin.com store user interface, and patrons can simply click the gift card sections at the top of the screen. From there, the customer can choose from an assortment of cards and fund them with a specified amount of money. For instance, a customer could choose to purchase a Best Buy gift card in increments between $5 and $2,000. Gift cards available at the shop include popular places like Applebee's, American Eagle, Dunkin' Donuts, HBO, Macy's, Nike, Nordstrom, Uber, Panera, Domino's, and a whole lot more. After choosing a card and a desired amount of funds, the customer can simply choose another gift card or check out. At the checkout, the Bitcoin.com store uses BitPay as a payment processor, so the item needs to be purchased with a BitPay payment protocol compatible wallet. Following the purchase, the customer will get a virtual gift card that can be redeemed for food, entertainment, and hundreds of retail brands. Not too shabby. Now here's the one that's going to make you scratch your head. Investment banks, while less risk-averse than their central banking peers, still take a conservative stance on crypto. It's only now, a decade on from Bitcoin's inception, that they're starting to give this digital asset class serious attention. In its report on Bitcoin, crypto, and blockchain, Morgan Stanley began yesterday by speaking of a rapidly morphing thesis. That's fancy speak for they changed their mind. Bitcoin Decrypted, a brief tech in and implications, lists no less than 7 phases of Bitcoin, during which time the cryptocurrency was understood by Morgan Stanley to hold different utilities. Well, the bottom line is, according to yesterday's report, Morgan Stanley's current interpretation of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies has gone from no tangible intrinsic value to, you ready for this? New institutional investment class. Hey, it's on the internet, it must be true. No, it is true. Morgan Stanley's current understanding of Bitcoin as being suitable for institutional investors differs considerably from its report this January 2018. That's when the investment bank referred to Bitcoin as a controversial asset and pondered whether it might be a new currency, a new type of gold, or just a speculative fad. Deploying its own version of the blockchain not Bitcoin meme, the January report had an opinion that while the future of Bitcoin and other crypto remains to be seen, the concept and technology behind them may influence innovation going forward. Now, this view contrasts greatly with the latest report, which on the application of blockchain in the fintech sector, Warren Buffett just bought big into fintech yesterday. You watch, before 2019's out, Warren will be in crypto. That's just one man's opinion, mine. Now, in January of this year, 2018, Morgan Stanley wrote that cryptocurrencies remain an experimental concept that is not regulated or backed by any central bank worldwide and has no tangible intrinsic value. See, that's no longer true. Well, to a degree. Read on. In just 10 months, its morphing thesis, or changing of its mind, has changed considerably. Bitcoin, on the other hand, has not shifted a bit. Oh, burn. All right, let's take a look at the numbers around the world quickly. and see where we stand on this Thursday, the first day of November 2018. Start here in the U.S. Again, these are cash markets. We'll do futures in a moment. The Dow is up 178 points. NASDAQ is up 66. S&P 500 is up 16. And the Russell 2000 is up 21. Puts the NASDAQ up almost 1% on the day, and the Russell 2000 up 1.5% on the day. And the commodity basket, crude oil down $1.80, trading 63.51 last. Let me refresh my data just to make sure. 63.51 last. Gold up $17.70. We'll take a look at gold, and let's see. Our Concierge Trade Alert for gold last night was to be long 1225. Important prices, important areas, almost always tested. So there's 1225, thereabouts. Yeah, that'll just have to do. Pretty close. All right. I cannot look at that. I'm going to do something different. Okay. 1225. Now on the L2, take a peek. Just type in GGCZ, and it will, Telegram will go out for me and return every alert we've made for gold. Most recent being, consider buying 1225, 1227 to 1229. Keep an eye on the weekly trading zone overhead at 1230/1231. Right here, we ran into that weekly zone, 1230/31. Okay. Okay. Consolidated at the zone, legged up, retracement, confirming good support, permission to rock requested. If we take out 1236, next zone up overhead, it's going to be 38/39. 1238/39. That's the next weekly zone overhead. So both the L2, and the Concierge Trade Alert put everyone along at 1225. And we discussed this yesterday. When those two match up, when they're both pointing in the same direction, at the same number, well, we said on the show yesterday, it's probably good not to ignore it. On the first move up, it was worth $3.50. That's $350 for you. For those of you playing along at home, yeah. 350. I've got a 3 on my keyboard somewhere. There it is. And then we shoot up to 12. Swing high, 1235. We'll call it 1235. So basically, it's $1,000 per contract available. The market made $1,000 per contract available. How much you took out of that move is between you and your stop loss. Okay. Is there an exit signal yet? Someone asked. Well, leg and a retrace. And it's the extended move where we look for the exit signal. And what do we got? an exit signal right there. Now, this candle closed at 12:52. I'm sorry, 12:32.40. Yep, 12:32.40, and that's your exit. From 12:25 to 12:32.40. Did you get out of the swing high if you waited for the exit signal? No. We never, rarely ever, get out at the... If we get out at the swing high or swing low, it's by accident. Because we don't know it's a swing high or swing low till after the fact. So, that said, go gold. Back to the numbers. Back. All right. In the Asian markets today, the Nikkei was down 232 points, a little over 1%. Shanghai up 3. Hang Seng up 436. That's 1.75%. In the European markets, the FTSE closed the session down 13 points. The DAX up 19. The CAC down 10. So it was a mixed day in Asia, mixed day in Europe. Here at home, it is a big green radio day so far, this first day of November 2018. Let's scoot over to Michael right now and get a recap of everything that happened in the live training room today. And then I'll be back. We'll chat with John. We'll talk with Dr. Tom. All that and lots more, plus answers to your questions. Put them in the chat box.
Put them in the chat box.
Put them in the chat box.
Arlene, is there an options trade? Where do you enter at and exit? That was her question.
I'm sorry?
Arlene asked, is there an options trade?
Arlene, I don't do options. Michael and Bert are more
I can show you stuff about the options, but you're going to have to be more specific because that question was asked 15 minutes ago and I didn't see it until just now.
Oh, okay.
What market, Arlene?
If I ever have to take a flight somewhere again, I'm going to teach myself to trade options. But other than that, I just haven't had the time or inclination.
Okay. In Crude. And let me just... do I have the charts? Let me see. Do I have the charts? I do have the charts.
I placed one options trade in my whole life. $500. It was a bullish option trade on gold. This goes back to like 1998, 1999. And I lost my $500. Oh, I thought you didn't use terms like winning and losing. Well, back then I was gambling because I had no clue why I was buying a bullish gold option, except the next voice you hear after mine and Michael's, well, that's the reason. So... And sure enough, after my option expired, gold took a nice little giddy up and got goosed in the right direction and all that. So that was one of my last gambling type trades. Well, in equities. And then I gambled a little in futures until I realized I was gambling, and it's like, whoa, stop. Why don't you try to figure out what the heck's going on? You know, because I mean, at least in Vegas, they have, you know, attractive waitresses, and they've got adult beverages. And there's no clocks, no one worrying you, bothering you. You can leave your cell phone in the room. Yeah, no windows. Wow, you're isolated. Hey, and speaking of being isolated, have you heard about this viral outbreak? I don't know where it is in the country. It's somewhere here in the U.S., and there's like a hospital full of children. I just caught like 5 seconds of, I don't know how long we were talking about it. I don't really know what's happening. But as a person who watches The Walking Dead, things like that stick in my head. So I'll suss it out while you're doing the recap. All right,
you suss it out.
Okay.
All right, and I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna try to address Arlene's question. You know, if Dwayne gave, like, let's say Dwayne in the Logic 24/7 gave a sell spot, like say right there, and he's suggesting that it should get down to here. Yeah, there would be an option position you can take, and I don't know if you know how to trade options on futures. I don't know if you've ever done it. You have to tell me if you ever have, and I will show you how to. Okay. Have you, Arlene? Because this is just another avenue that, you know, if Dwayne gives out, you know, Logic 24/7 or a okay, if he gives out a Logic 24/7 or a trade alert, concierge trade alert that has a really large target, it's because there's a lot of space. And to trade options, you go to trading, then options chain, you would say new window. This is how you trade options on futures. You would have to have it turned on. This is how you do it with DT Pro. I don't know how you do it with Ninja, but this is how you do it with DT Pro. And you would have to have it turned on. You would have to contact Bert and have it turned on. And you would type in the underlying, which in this case would be GCLZ8. And now, usually, the best priced option is going to be one out of the money. Not the one right next to the money, not the one on the money. It's going to be the next one down. Is usually going to be the best priced option. Not always, but usually. And yeah, I mean, you could do puts or calls. I say buy puts or buy calls. Don't sell puts or sell calls unless you have unlimited income, because you have unlimited risk. Okay. And I mean, that's simple as it gets. Okay. If you buy or sell, your risk is limited to the cost of buying or selling. If you buy puts or you buy calls, your cost is limited to what you paid for the put or the call. But if you sell puts or sell calls, you have unlimited risk. So I would say buy them, don't sell them. Okay. I mean, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of strategies and a lot of people that, you know, you could go, you can buy and sell a call spread. Yeah. I mean, I used to do that with bonds, Brad. I would buy in the middle and I'd sell on, you know, way up high and way down low to make up for the cost for buying in the middle. And the only way I lose money is if it goes outside the range or if it doesn't do anything. And yeah, I did that for a while. And sometimes it won, sometimes it lost. But it eventually, I mean, it just got to be too stressful. Gary, usually the best priced one is going to be not the one I just closed, that window that I opened, but usually here, I'll open it again. Option chain, new window, GCL Z8. Usually the best price option is going to be this one right here or this one right here, depending on what direction you're going. Okay, you're a little bit out of the money right here. Right here, you're in the money. See how much it went from there to there in the money? And right here, you're just a little bit out of the money. Usually the best price is going to be right here. Okay, if you're expecting it to go up, you would buy right here. If you're expecting it to go down, you would buy right here. Okay, that's usually the case. Not always, obviously. Nothing is always. But I have hiccups. I'll just minimize that for now. And bring this over and minimize that. Okay. There's something that I forgot to do. Arlene, I got to respond to your email. I got to call Bert. I'm going to make a list. Hang on. Sorry, you guys have to go through this with me for just a second. wasn't too bad. All right. Yeah, so let me bring up this. Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is the first day of November 2018. We are a week away from my birthday. And 1 day away from Macy's birthday and my sister's birthday. And Dwayne's birthday was a week and a half ago. Oh. All right. Anyway, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go to the homepage at CFRN.net. And right over here on the side, it says 5-day free trial apply.CFRN.net. If you click on that, you'll be brought to this page. On this page, all we ask for is your email, your first name, and how you found us. Hit the submit button. Once you hit that button, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay? We don't know you took the trial until you click the confirmation link. That's called double opt-in, which reduces spam. Okay? Because we don't want to spam you. We just want to educate you. All right. Today, as I just said, is the first day of November. Wow, it's November already. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you're going to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today we made 5 ticks on crude and 4 ticks on the ES. That put us exactly at the goal for the day. And I had to stretch it 2 minutes to do that. Today it took 117 minutes and 9 trades to get to the goal for the day. And we took a total of 9 trades. So we're at $100 on the month. Okay. On the year, we're at 31,478. That's over 203 days, averaging 155 per day. 155 per day. That's one contract, 2 hours per day. Now, I know you're all thinking, you know, well, I make more than 31 grand a year. Why would I, you know, why would I want to jump into this to make 31 grand a year? Well, this is one contract. Let's say you had 5 contracts. It'd be over 160. Say you had 10. That'd be 310 or 314. 314. And that's what we want to get you up to. We want to get you up there so that, you know, you can trade a couple days a week and then take the rest of the week off. Just enjoy life. Okay, so I got gold up here. And hopefully my computer's not going to give me any problems today, like it has the past couple of days when I'm trying to do this. On the gold, we only had this one trade right here. We had a break even on it. Now, in here, there was a long trade right here, but I think it was going into the high of the day, and that's why you don't see me putting any of these on it. It was going into the high of the day. Okay, there was one right here that I missed that would have given us the goal for the day. Nothing over here. Then we're getting into the break. There was a short right here. Now this right here, guys, this is the highest probability trade setup right here. Okay, right here we had the cross of the MA1 below the BBC. We had to pull away from the BBC. Price pulled away from the BBC. Then it pulled back up and it touched the BBC. And down here in the slingshot, the cycle is red and below the green line. And we have a lot of space in between the green line and the cycle. And up here, the MA1 is also red. We hit the BBC, we have red, and we hit the BBC. So we have a lot of pressure right here saying it's going to go down. And the green line has to go down into the cycle. And when it does, you should put in a lower swing. Okay, so that was the highest probability trade setup right there. And I told everybody in the morning session that the half an hour, and Dwayne also told them, that the half an hour between when we close down the morning session and when we start up this session is usually a really good time for trading. And that right there on gold, 33.3 all the way down to 31.3. It's $200 right there per contract. The entry would be the close of this red candle right here, Brad. It's the first down close after price touches the BBC. So this blue one was the first one to hit the BBC. This was your first down close. Okay. And, well, down it went. Change directions. And over here, we had the opposite. We had blue on the MA1. We had blue on the cycle. We had bullish separation, bullish divergence between the cycle and the green line down in the slingshot, the up close was right here. This was the first hit, right? Step 1 is the cross. Step 2 is the pull away. Step 3, the pull back and touch of the BBC. The next up close in this case would have been your long opportunity. This was your first up close. You anticipate the green line is going to work its way up into the cycle, and when it does, you should have a higher swing. So it did. It did it there, and it did it again right here. Okay, and it's doing a trend line trade right now. And that was gold today. We ended up with nothing on gold, but during the break, there was a lot of opportunity. Okay, there was probably $200-300 of opportunity during the break per contract. All right, the euro. We didn't do anything with the euro today. It was really choppy. There was one trade right here, it looks like. And I think we're looking at the high of the day in here. That's why you don't see anything highlighted. There was one trade right here that would have been a break even. There was one trade right here that would have stopped out. Then it got extra choppy. And then we got into the break. And there's one short right here that probably would have been a break even right over here. Didn't put in a lower swing, so there's nothing else. And that was it for the euro. The euro was just a mess today. Okay, and crude. We had little trades on crude. And I missed a bunch, though, on crude. I did miss a bunch. And, you know, all the stuff that Dwayne was talking about all the movement, a lot of it happened during the break. But we started out with break even on crude right here. Then a +1 tick right here. Then we picked up 4 more ticks there to put us at +5. And we missed a momentum short right there. And look at all these trades we missed here. We missed this really nice one. We got a break even. We missed that one and that one. And I don't know what this line is in here for. I must have been showing you something this morning. So let me remove that. Yeah, and it was going down, but all this was going down into the low of the day, so there was nothing that we could do. Okay, it tried to change directions here, but it didn't, and then it just kept going down. So depending on where the low of the day was, we may or may not have been able to take a trade in here. Okay. All right, so when it starts going up, I know we're not hitting the high of the day. So there's a long trade here, there's a long trade here, there's a long trade here. And that looks like about it. It looks like there was a short right here. And on this one, again, the MA1 is red, the cycle is red, both are going down steep. Highest probability trade setup. What happened to crude during the break? I don't know. I do not know that. On the ES was really choppy today. All right, and we got our goal late in the day, and I'll explain this because it was kind of well, I entered lower than where the candle closed. So I'll show you that in just a minute. Okay. On the ES, yeah, we had that. Okay. So on the ES, we had our first trade right in here. It ended up being a break even. We missed that short there that would have worked out. Looks like then we got too close to the zone. We took a long there that we got a break even on. We missed a long here that would have worked out. It looks like there was another one right here that would have worked out. A short here, we missed that, would have worked out. A long here was 1 tick in profit. It was a momentum trade, so stop should have gone to break even. Along here, same thing, 1 tick in profit, stop should have gone to break even. I'm just scrolling through and looking at all this stuff. You see, then it got really, really choppy, and we stayed out of it until it got way up here, put in a new high, came down, and this was right at the end of the day. Now, this candle actually closed up here. This blue candle behind the arrows was the entry candle, and it closed up here, and then it pulled back, and then I saw it, and then I jumped in it because I was really trying to get 4 ticks on the ES to get the goal for the day, because this was No, for any of you who have been in the morning session with me, I usually shut it down at 12. I'm not 12. I usually shut it down at 11:25 and then do the spreadsheet. But I was like 2 minutes late starting up this morning. Well, I mean, I had the room started up at 7:30, but I was 2 minutes late sitting down this morning. So I gave myself 2 extra minutes, and I really wanted to start the month off on a green day. And when I saw that there was a shot at it here, I jumped in, and it was on this red candle that had pulled back. So the cycle was not going down too steep at that point. Now the next candle, the cycle was going down too steep, but I had, oops. Let me grab the yellow thing here. See, it was on that candle. And I got my stop to break even as soon as I could, and then I put a target at 4 ticks and my stop at break even, and it gave me the 4 ticks that we needed. After that, look at the chop that was in there. It's just nasty. And it's just ugly again. And it has been all day. Compared to, you know, Monday and Tuesday this week, it was so tradable. And then Wednesday and Thursday this week, not at all. Not at all. Okay. So that said, we are gonna open this up and go back to the spreadsheet really quick. Okay. Wow, it's 12:49. But I dragged that out. Today, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the first day of November 2018. We made 5 ticks on crude, 4 ticks on the ES to put us exactly at the goal for the day, $100 per contract. It took 117 minutes and 9 trades to get there. First day of the month. And on the year, we're at $31,478. That's over 203 trading days, averaging 155 per day. If you have not taken our free trial, go to the homepage at CFRN.net. Right over here it says 5-day free trial. Apply.CFRN.net. Click on that, and you'll be brought to this page where all we ask for is your email, your first name, how you found us. Hit the submit button. Once you hit that submit button, you'll be sent a confirmation link. You must click on the confirmation link. Okay, if you don't click that confirmation link, we don't know that you took the free trial. Whew. Okay. With that, I can pass it back out to fabulous Phoenix, Arizona, Studio A, where Dwayne is overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne?
No, that's totally true. In fact, I was overlooking South Mountain and kind of spaced out the whole.
Okay.
So,
I know I talked a little longer than normal there, but we had to go over the options stuff too. And John's not out there, so I don't know what's going on. John,
right.
he's usually in by
no
now.
problem, because Dr. Tom will be here. I sent him an email and told him Dr. Tom was coming
Oh,
in today, and so he may have elected to come at 11:30.
Let me see if Dr. Tom is here.
Well, he comes at the top of the hour. He's usually pretty punctual, I think.
Yeah, he's not there yet.
Okay. Did we launch anything? Alas, we did. Everything a trader needs. And that's true. Very true. Hey, did you hear that all the passport holders who want to participate in the tuition reimbursement program and referral income stream, did you hear that they're all getting their own one-page website? Did you hear about that?
I did not hear about that.
My goodness, it's bananas. You'll go to something like, oh, I don't know, CFRN.net/Brad. It's all about Brad. Brad can go in there. Brad can decorate. He can hang pictures over here, put a throw rug over there. It'll be your new digital home where all your friends will come and hang out and visit. You'll have your own little Facebook under your own hood. So, I mean, it's kind of neat, kind of interesting, and I think the folks are going to enjoy it.
Bing.
Now, that's going to help you develop your second income stream. Read any of the books by any of the wealthy who wrote such books, and there's a recurring theme. There's recurring themes throughout all of those books, and that's an object lesson in and of itself. Just connecting the dots between, okay, this guy says this guy says it too, and then this guy says it. Maybe there's something to it. If enough people tell me that I have whatever, maybe I should at least, if enough people tell me I have a tail, I think that's how it goes, maybe I should turn around and look to see if, I don't know, maybe there is a tail. The question becomes, how many people have to tell you you have a tail before you accept the fact and embrace the tail? Well, I can answer that for you. So, moving on, the passport is indeed everything that you need. Now, for a long time, we were asked to do something on a monthly basis, kind of make it affordable, you know, to get your arms around. But we put so much in there, it made it sent the price way up, because it's all inclusive. It's everything, not just today, but everything we've ever created and everything we shall create or do, service we might offer in the future. It's all covered under the passport. When you hold a passport, you hold the future in your hands. And that's a true story. $9.97 a month. It's a 24-month lease. At the end of the lease, you buy it out for $1. $997 per month, 24-month lease. At the end of the lease, you buy it out for $1, and it is yours for good. And yes, it is transferable. I thought you would like to know that. Also, you have an opportunity to launch your dual income stream, your own website. It's good. The future's bright. What all does it include? Well, you saw what Michael just went through with the charts. Well, it certainly includes all of that. Live training room every day. It also includes the Concierge Trade Alerts, which you see on the show every day. It also includes the Logic 247, which you see here on the show almost every day. And certainly you see it in the Telegram, very active. It's a 24/7 alert service. Did you know 80% of traders spend 80% of their time looking for the next trade? It means you're only trading 20% of the time. If you look at that over a 5-day week, you spend 4 days looking and 1 day trading. What if you could spend 5 days trading? Maybe you could take a day off, so you spend 4 days trading. How's that possible? Well, Logic 247 provides an around-the-clock, 24/7 live feed of what we deem to be the best opportunities available at the moment in the futures markets around the world. So, turn it on when you need it. All right, it's time to make the donuts. You turn it on, grab your goal for the day, whatever it is you need to transact and get done, you turn it on. Now, when you have it turned off, you're not going to miss anything, because Telegram's going to save it for you. And when you turn it back on, you're going to have everything that transpired while you were away, while you were resting, while you were fishing or boating or whatever it is that you do, jogging. Probably a lot of you jog, I know that. I can tell by the glow on your face. So anyway, 24/7, when you turn it on, there may have been 10, 15 alerts since you turned it off. It's possible. So those are all sitting there. Well, yeah, but they've already triggered. I know, that's my point. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. And often, it's that second and third trigger, the one with the least amount of risk, that provides the greatest profit potential. So there's only one way to find out if Logic 247 is for you. That's to grab a month, put it to the test. Got an ironclad guarantee. If at any time you are unhappy or unsatisfied with your lease, you may terminate it. Just give us 5 days notice before your next bill date, and you won't be billed. We shake hands, and hopefully you'll remain a part of the audience. And when the time is right for you, when life slows down or you have a break from work, whatever it was that took you out of the picture, we'll bring you back into the picture. We freeze your account, we put it on hold for 36 months. In 36 months, if you haven't come back, you probably aren't coming back, so we're going to free that spot up. We're going to move that into the non-active archive and open up the slot for somebody else. Okay? So that's how it works. There's really no risk. I assure you that first month, you'll see the value. And remember, after 24 months, it's a $1 buyout, and it's yours. Michael, what did I miss?
Yes. I think you got it all.
Did I get it all?
I think
How was
so.
working without a net?
And
Some might think I had one of those fancy pants teleprompters. It was like when, Buddy Holly and Eric Clapton would get together and jam.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was just free flow.
Yeah. All right.
You know what that's called? Podscatting.
What?
Podscatting.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember. I think
Okay.
Jake had mentioned that to me before.
Did he?
I think so.
All right.
At some point.
All right, let's take a look, guys. Okay, John's not here, and Dr. Tom... Is Dr. Tom here? I'll go ahead and open
No.
his mic if he's here.
Nope, not yet.
Let me see if I got an email from him. He's pretty punctual now. In fact, he's so punctual that he contacted me this week to let me know that on the 15th of November, he'll be tied up. And so we're going to... That week, we'll be doing it on Friday instead of Thursday. We started out on Mondays. We've now moved to Thursdays, and the week of November 15th, Dr. Tom will be here on Friday instead of Thursday. Other than that, we're going to keep rolling with the Thursday show. All right. Crude, we've looked at. If you have any questions about anything as we make our way through here, type it in the chat box. Always happy to answer it, and we assure you your privacy. No one sees what you type except myself, Michael. If Bert were here, he would be able to see it, but we're the only three, so your secrets, whatever they are, they're safe with us. Boy, the folks over at Google who walked out today, they must have left things on autopilot. Just got a an email from them. Is your business open on Veterans Day? Update your page. Veterans Day?
I think Jake's got Veterans Day off this year. The last few years I used to fly up because they did a big things for veterans at his school.
Oh, really?
The last few years. But this year he'll be with me. And I think he's got the day off. So I'm not sure.
Something is amiss. Did you see the email from why is that? Look in the email. You see that email from Lars?
Let me go look.
I don't understand why it's...
I was looking at the one from
sent
Gordon.
It says it was sent 3 days ago.
3 days ago?
That's what it says.
I don't have a current email from Lars. Let me do a search.
October 29th. For some reason, it's sitting at the top of the inbox for me.
I have one on October 30th. I have one. And it's just because, he's like around the world, and, when you do the alerts...
Yeah, but I just don't understand why it... Oh, somehow it got ticked. It's got the, that thing you do. Conversation marked as important, not important. Oh. Okay, that's from the day that they did go out late.
The last one that I have from him was 2 days ago.
Okay.
October 30th.
Good.
And it's not showing up at the top of my box.
Yeah, it was showing near the top of mine, apparently because I had it highlighted. Take the little arrow or whatever that thing is. I guess
Yeah.
That makes it important. Did you read Ted's email?
Ted V, yeah, I did.
Did you respond?
I did not respond yet, but I can and will.
I haven't had a chance to read all the way through it. Is that something you can take care of, or do you need me to do it?
Well, you need to read it because he's asking us to go over some stuff tonight in the meeting.
All right, I'll go over it tonight. No problem.
But
the other part, you got it?
Yeah, I can do the rest of it.
Okay. All right.
I'm on it.
Yeah, you see Dr. Tom? I don't know if the chat box,
not yet.
so I can see him when he pops in. He usually says I'm here. Or something to that effect. And all the questions have already been answered?
Hang on. Let me see. I'm going back. Tell you more of this.
Oh, and could you give Gary the link? Or maybe you don't know. I'll give it to him.
Okay.
You know what? I'll drop it off to you in Telegram, Gary.
And yes, Arlene, I saw that one friend started it today. You know, once you become a partner, there's a referral program where you will actually get money for referring your friends. That's what Dwayne was talking about earlier. Gary wants to learn more about the residual income.
Yeah, Gary, that's the link. I'm going to get it for him.
Okay. And Arlene, the 1500 is what confuses you on a logic crude chart. That was 1500 per contract available.
That's what the market made available.
Yep. It was not an option trade.
Has there been? No, that was a futures trade. And the trade, it was issued, well, let's bring it up. Today we recap Concierge Trade Alerts. Yesterday we recapped L2. Today we do CTA, so we're flip-flop back and forth. Which one was it? Crude? Yeah. So what's this? Boom. GCLZ 8. Boom. Which brings us to here. Consider selling GCLZ 8, 64.50 to 64.40 to 64.20. That's 30 ticks, $10 per tick, $300 per contract traded. When I measured it the first time, the swing low put us at $1,390 per contract available. So the market, now our target was $300. However, let me show you. Here we go. Watch this. Until the step line crosses the CFMA1, which it's in no danger of doing right now, it needs to cross over, and then we need a green close above the red CFMA1. I'm sorry, above the step line, which will be above the red CFMA1. Okay. I can show you what one looks like over here. In this long move here, these come into play after an extended move. So extended move for some could have been here. As it starts to extend, then we have one here. I also give you a little technique in the one-on-one unlimited mentoring sessions that come to passport holders. I teach you how to linger a moment and see, or as long as necessary, to see where the market's really headed. Often, like here on this move up, we'll need this to cross, just like it crossed here. Let me back it up and show you a previous day. This was an L2, and we got the exit right there. We had a cross, a red close on a long trade, and they'll always look the same. So you don't have to, is this it, is that it? If this crosses over and we get a red close below the step line, that's it. Okay. Alright. Let's see if Dr. Tom's checked in. Maybe I got the day wrong. Dr. Tom, if you're here, just type something in the chat box and I'll get with you.
I don't see him.
Oh, you know what? He doesn't have the link to the radio show. He doesn't. He probably doesn't even know about the radio show.
Oh, that's right. The
Oh,
change.
Man. Okay, let me send it to him real quick. He's shaking his head right now. That guy. Link, sorry. First of the month. Okay, and here we are. I should have just sent him I should have sent him the other link, but oh well. I think he's got that one. Alright. Last night on the Concierge Trade Alerts, if you guys want to grab a screenshot of the Concierge Trade Alerts, get your camera. And there you go. Wednesday night, they went out at 8:25 p.m. Eastern. Halloween. Oil soybeans to ZSF9. That's our first contract in the year 2019. Okay. On the S&P, we said to consider being long 27.24. That's going to be right about here. Remember that important prices and important areas are almost always tested. Alright. So consider being long or buy 27.24. And what came of that is we put in a swing high here at 27.25. So that's 3.25 points. 3.25. Price gets back below the trigger. Off we go again. Now this trigger right here, this could have resulted in a stop out. Price then gets back below the trigger again. This time, no stop out. Takes us to 34.75, 34 3/4. It's 10 3/4 points. I call it 10. Keep it simple. It's $500 per contract available. On the Dow, let's have a look. Those are not current zones, those are last week's zones, which reminds me, we need to populate the zones. Today's Thursday, 2720. Just going to put this one in for now, and I'll put the rest in later for you. You can always reach me in Telegram if you want the rest of them. Anybody in the audience, just hit me up in Telegram. I am at CFRN, the number 1. At CFRN, the number 1. So 2720/21. There we go. So as you can see, price has been oscillating. Bigger picture. Get above the zone and back below, and above and below. Back up to the zone. Now, here we started to wind our way up. And all it did was bring us to this previous high. Next zone overhead is all the way up at 94/95. Yep. And the zone below, I'll put that one there. So that one you might see again. 2690/91. There's 90. 91. Yeah. We have the one zone way up here. Could it happen? Sure. It could. But if it's not happening on the first day of the month, in fact, we're printing an inside day, are we not? So far, yeah. So far, this is an inside day. I mean, we've gone right up against the highs of yesterday, but we've not taken them out. And if we fail to take these out, if we don't take this high out, we will come back to visit 90.91. I do believe. Not necessarily today, possibly tonight, tomorrow, Sunday night on the Globex Open. Okay. All right. Now, looks like something's going on here. 25290. Got nothing there this week. May have been last week. 25. No, it's further back than that. Okay, well, let's see where we are in relation to where we are right now. Got one more zone overhead on the Dow, way up at 25650. Okay. 25095. Okay. Last night, the Concierge Trade Alert said to consider being long 25,160. That looks like this. 25,160. Alerts came out at 8:25, so that would be 2030 here. So we need to
Dr. Tom is in the house.
all the way over. Okay, good. If you want to open up his mic, that'll be great.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
I'll grab it right now. Okay, here you go, Dr. Tom. Mic is open.
Oh, that was good. Dr. Tom, welcome to the show. I got a feeling he's not doing that on purpose.
I'm guessing he probably needs to call back in.
Yeah,
because that is not very good connection right there.
Does it say that he's dialed in?
It doesn't say.
If he's dialed in, just disconnect him and that'll force him to dial back in. Dr. Tom, we're not able to hear you. We just hear the sound of water.
Yeah, it seems
Sounds
like
like
every
some
time
clarity
he clicks.
there. It's when you key your mic, the speaker, whatever it is you're doing. I'm just going to bump him out. I'll take
Okay.
over.
I can do it. I can keep it. But,
All right, Tom, I'm going to hang up on you so you can come back in. Okay, disconnect you. All right, you've officially been kicked to the curb. Please call back in. Dr. Tom's left the house. All right, let's make quick use of the time. Once again, 25,160. 25,160. Yeah, no, close enough. All right, so for 25,160, we put in a swing high at 203. That's 40 Dow points, $200 per contract available. Here, from 160 up to a swing high at 238, it's $300 per contract. And then last but not least, from 160 up to 328, that's 160 Dow points at $5 per point. Well, think I know the answer. I'm going to run it through the machine just for you. Accuracy is important. $800 per contract available. So the market offers some here, gets back below the trigger, says here you can have a little more, and then it gets back below the trigger, and off we go again. Important prices, important areas are almost always tested. If that's the only takeaway you ever get from this radio program, you never become a partner, you never become a passport holder, you never break bread with us, please take that with you. Important prices and important areas are almost always tested. Now without us, I don't know where you're going to get your important prices, important areas, but if you find one, by golly, just know that it's going to probably be tested. Okay. On the Russell, we said to consider being along 1518. That puts us long right about here. 1518. So smooth. It could be like that every time. 1518. All right, so up we go to 22. That's 4 Russell points, RTY. That's $200 per contract. Now from 1518 up to 1523. That's 5, $250. Back below the trigger again. Now I said something at the beginning of the broadcast.
Dr. Tom's back in and I unmuted him. I don't know if he can...
Hey, Dr. Tom, your mic's open. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
There it goes.
Well, you
That's
called
better.
in before. You're going to have to listen to the podcast after the live show here. I don't know what was going on. Did you have some difficulties with your mic or your phone?
No, I went in like I normally do, and then I heard you talking to me, and then you kicked me out, which is okay because I'm used to rejection.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Good. No, every time you would key up your mic to speak or however it is you're doing it, it would just go. It was pretty loud, and
That's weird.
But you could hear us, huh?
I hear you fine. So I just, after I got out, I went right back in again, same way, and it's just a regular headset mic.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like you put your headset in the shower every time you go to speak. So anyway, but we hear you perfect now.
Oh, excellent. All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that do not know, let me spell it out for you. This is Dr. Tom. Dr. Tom hangs out with us every Thursday at this time. I want you to go to CFRNgold.com if you've never been there. I'm putting it up on the screen for you as we speak. This portion of our weekly programming has to do with investment grade gold. I know you're nodding your head going, okay, but you don't know what investment grade gold is unless you've been here before on a Thursday or a Monday in a previous incarnation. Go here, get your free starter pack, pick it up, CFRNgold.com. Get connected with the good doctor here, and maybe he can make your financial well-being feel better. What do you think, Dr. Tom? Can you do that?
Well, I'm the finance doctor.
He's Dr. Feelgood. For your wallet?
Yep.
All right.
I like it when you call me the good doctor because I like that TV program.
Which one? The Good Doctor?
It's called The Good Doctor.
Oh,
yeah.
I used to watch The Good Wife. And I'm pretty sure the name of the Good Doctor. Oh, that's got, what show was he on before? The young doctor.
I don't know, but
like
he's really good in this one.
Oh, you know what? Maybe this is the only show I know him from. But yeah, he was. It's people are created for certain roles, and he plays that role well. I mean, does he suffer from? It's not Asperger's. What's it called?
Autism.
Autism, right?
Not in real life, but on the show, he's what they call a high functioning autistic.
Yeah, that's right. That's the term. Very high functioning.
Yeah.
Good show.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I recommend it. It doesn't have all the garbage and bad words and sex and violence that most TV shows have.
Yeah, most of them do. Have you watched Manifest yet?
Yes, very interesting.
I've only seen the first episode. I'm saving a couple up I like to watch, some back-to-backs, because it seems like I get into the plot, and I certainly get to know the characters better if I can sit. If I got 3 hours to kill or 2 hours, at least watch a couple episodes back-to-back. That works for me. And sometimes the wife and I, a whole Saturday, you never know. There's a term for that with the Netflix binging. Yeah, no binging. I think there's another.
Do you remember that? Do you remember that Malaysian flight 370?
Yes.
That just disappeared. Well, I think this new show. Yeah. This explains what happened. See.
Except they haven't reappeared yet.
No, but I figure it'll be another couple of years.
Are they giving folks false hope?
Pop up.
Or was this part of the production cost of the TV show? That would make it the most expensive TV show ever.
Yeah, you betcha.
18 off the top of your head. I got it. Okay, 26. All right, what would you like to talk about today? I know we're going to talk about investment grade gold, but there's so many different directions that a topic like that can take a man or a woman. Which direction would you like to go in today?
Well, I tell you, what's on my mind right now, in my heart, is politics in the stock market. And if we could start off just a little bit with that.
Absolutely.
Because, it seems like about every 10 years we have a crash. So we're overdue for a crash. And I've been looking, as we talked about before, some of the cracks that are developing in the foundations of the market, and it's made me concerned. It also, in a sense, this sounds terrible, but it makes me happy because it's like when I was drilling oil. I'd be at a gas station and the price of oil is up, and so the price of gas is up and everybody's complaining. But it was good for me because I was a driller. So I felt for them. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I've got so much gold that when the stock market really does let loose, it's going to make me a zillionaire.
Wow. Is it a capital Z?
Capital Z, exactly.
All right.
But yeah, I don't want to, you talk about the market all day long. I just want to talk about the politics of it, because if Hillary had been elected back in 2016, stock market would have already crashed.
I believe that.
No question about that. But interestingly, not since Trump took office and could start doing something, making an effect on the markets, but since the close of market on election day, the Dow's gone up 37%, the S&P 26.74, and the NASDAQ 40.67. Okay, so those, he was on TV saying, the market's up like 50%. Well, it's not that much, but it's pretty big and good.
That's a Trumpism. Come on, just cut it in half. Whatever he says, just cut it in half. I mean, it's good. But it's like half. That's okay.
Right.
He's moved to Texas where everything's bigger. I don't know. Maybe he will after.
Well, that's what he should do. Even the Texas State House, the Capitol there, is about 20% bigger than the U.S. Capitol.
I didn't know that.
They do everything bigger in Texas. But if you remember, and how could you forget, during the 1990s, everybody was a genius. Whatever stocks they picked went up,
Right.
and they thought it was because they were so smart. But then March of 2000, everything changed. Now, what drove the market in the 90s?
Well, the tide rolled in, tech.
Tech.
And then the tide rolled out, tech.
You got it. So what's happening right now is what they call the FANG stocks. You familiar with that phrase?
Absolutely. We talk about them daily pretty much. Facebook, Amazon, Netflix, and Google, which is now Alphabet, which detracts a little from the FANG moniker, but we stick with it.
Yeah, well, I think they use the G instead of the A for alphabet. So you got two A's, You got Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and then you got N for Netflix and G for Alphabet. Because
So we've got two A's. We got two
the acronym wouldn't work.
Apple and Amazon. That's right.
Right. But just in October, two of them were down around 20%, Amazon and Netflix. But the one I'm really watching is Apple, because it's like 4% of the S&P 500. It's 6% of the Dow and 13% of the NASDAQ. So it has an inordinate effect on the markets. Yet, all of them are down. And so no big surprise.
Apple earnings after the bell today, according to Karen as well.
That should be interesting. But the markets overall, October, worst month since 2008. So, number one, what would have happened if Hillary had been elected? This turnaround, I think, would happen a lot quicker, and we'd probably be better off right now, because you're shaking out the weak sisters, and then the real investors will come back in, and we'd actually maybe be higher than we are now. But
if Hillary got elected?
If Hillary got elected, I think it would have dropped an awful lot, maybe as much as 30%.
Climb the wall of worry and be higher than we are now?
Possibly, that's a maybe.
That's an interesting thesis.
Well, I think, did I tell you about the article I wrote last week about the dead cat bounce?
I think you did. Tell us again.
Well, just real quick, I was writing an article about, a few weeks ago we had two of the biggest down days ever in the history of the market, back to back, a Wednesday and a Thursday. And so on Thursday night, I published an article. I said, tomorrow will be a dead cat bounce. And I explained what a dead cat bounce is. I said, now I know a number of people reading this are probably going to be upset by this allegory. So I said, I just want to assure you no cats were harmed in the writing of this article. And sure enough, the next day.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, the next day, the Friday, it recovered about half of what it had lost on Thursday, but it started recovering. So, you've watched, I've watched it for 40 years. I think you're a lot older than me, probably. So,
I don't think so.
But we've watched it for decades. Every time you get a major drop, then it goes back up. Now, sometimes it doesn't go back as quickly. Like in March of 2000, the tech drop started in for the next 2.5 years. If you'd just been buy and hold all during the 90s and continue to hold, in 2.5 years, you lost all the gains that you'd made. But then eventually it did turn around and go north. So that's kind of like what I think.
How long did it take for the NQ to get back to 15? I'm going to bring up a chart real quick.
Okay.
Just to illustrate. Maybe illustrate. Let's see. We'll go at NQ. At NQ. Okay. And we're going to have to get rid of all of this stuff. There we go. Okay. We're backing it up. Let me put this off, take it off 30 minutes and put it on weekly. That ought to get us there. Okay. Wow. I can't even go back far enough to see the crash on this chart. I'll have to bring up my other.
Doesn't have a monthly.
Well, it does have a monthly, but it won't reach back any further than that.
Oh, I see.
Well, I don't want to do that right now. I'll just do this. I don't want to unveil that site just yet. Okay. Here we go in Q. And we'll You'll get it all. NASDAQ futures. There we go. There we go. Now we'll put this one on a monthly, and that should scoot us way back. There's 2010. 2008, 2006. There we go. That was the high right there. Back in 2000, and that's as far back as this one lets me go.
Yeah, but look, it took into 2017
from 2000 all the way
to
over
recover.
Yep. Now this is the big. Okay, now this is the 2000 crash. This is the real estate crash.
Right.
Where the S&P went down to 666.
Yeah, and percentage-wise, it didn't go down as much as the 2000 crash.
It took all the way up to get back to this high. It took us to 2011, and then to get back to this high.
But here's the interesting thing: it didn't really get back. It didn't really get back to there because they never calculate inflation.
Right. But it does prove that the white horse always wins.
Oh yeah.
In the best of breed index, I mean, they kick out the weak, they take in the next strong bull, and that's what keeps the market forever moving higher. Now that doesn't apply to individual stocks, folks, but to the indices, it does. Which is one of the reasons why Warren Buffett says, buy an index and take a nap. Go ahead.
Yeah,
He's
right.
getting into crypto too. He just bought a ton of fintech stock yesterday, two different companies, and I don't do prophecy, but my thought is that 2019 is the year we'll see Warren Buffett, the crypto curmudgeon, enter the crypto space and embrace it. We'll see.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, some of the biggest investors in the world are getting involved in crypto right now. But
Morgan
back to
Stanley
the index
has
thing,
gone from calling it a worthless an experiment with no intrinsic value to yesterday they put out a huge report and relabeled it as an institutional investment asset class. They had a big conference with the PowerPoint and the everything. Yeah.
well, if you could send me a link to that after, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
But just one further thought on the indices. I was a stockbroker in October of '87 when you had the biggest percentage drop in one day ever, and within not too much time, couple of years, it was back with the same numbers as it had been. But whenever people say that, like we just did, okay, it's support or reference, it's back up to the same point. What that doesn't account for is inflation, and it also doesn't account for changes of stocks, like for instance, Government Motors. What was it trading before? All the Government Motors, General Motors.
Oh, that's funny.
What was it trading at?
When? What year?
Before 2008, 2007, something like that.
This only takes me back to 2011. GM.
Okay.
And I don't have anything higher than a month. And this, my other.
Well, it was. I believe it was in the 40s. Yeah, I believe it was in the 40s.
Okay.
And then when it actually was delisted, I think the last time it traded was 17 cents. Okay. And my trading as a stockbroker 40-some years ago was, make sure all your clients have the Generals, General Motors, General Electric, General Dynamics.
General Dollar.
But yeah, look how that worked out for people.
Carl Icahn just bought a bunch of Dollar Tree.
Seriously?
Expect to see that place turn around because it's such a slouch behind the 99-cent only chain.
Right.
Activist Carl Icahn, he'll turn that little dollar store around, that little dollar store chain.
Well, he knows how to do it.
He does.
But anyway, you know, these indices don't take into account the switch outs. I can't remember what they switched, you know, because GM, of course, was in the Dow and the SP 500. Do you remember what stock that you switched it out for?
Was it Walgreens?
I don't remember. I keep trying to think. But anyway, it was something that was certainly doing a whole lot better than General Motors. So if you went back and actually looked at the Dow for the last 100 years, I've got a chart on my wall, a 100-year of the Dow. And I mean, actually a paper chart. And it basically shows the Dow just going pretty much straight up, you know, some blips here and there. But if you showed it adjusted for inflation and adjusted, you know, with the original 30 Dow stocks, it would barely be positive in 100 years. Barely. So I guess what I'm saying, you can't just look at the indices and say they're gospel. We've been sort of trained to believe that,
Well, I mean,
but they're
since
not.
the markets began, how much higher are they since each one of the indices started? How much higher are they now?
Have to do some research on that.
Well, they're all substantially higher than they were when they started, which goes back to my theory that the white horse always wins.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I wasn't around then.
But I love those simplistic kind of things. Yeah, I mean, there's been huge corrections and sell-offs, and you know, there's troughs, and there's mountaintops, valley,
Right.
mountaintop. That's just how the market works. And people get so, you know, the time to buy is when there's blood in the streets. I mean, I know that sounds kind of nasty, but I am a guy that watches Walking Dead, shamefully, he said as he hung his head. Love that show. Love the characters. No, I got no love for them zombies, but the people and the characters and the way they built that story, it's phenomenal. They're starting a franchise. I think it'll be bigger than Star Wars someday.
Really?
Well, and I hope
My
these
wife
kids
is a Star Wars nut.
I hope these kids in this hospital that have this virus. Have you heard about this?
Yes,
Pretty
I've been
scary.
watching it.
Where is it? Where is the hospital? I just caught a few minutes of it this morning. I wasn't aware that was a thing.
There's actually two of them now. They're both in New Jersey, if I remember right, New Jersey, yeah. And one of them is the one you're thinking about, I think 9 or 11 children have died. It's very similar to the polio virus. The other one, there's another children's hospital for long-term care of kids. And kids started getting sick there, and they were thinking it was the same thing, but now it turns out it's not. So it's probably not going to kill the kids. But yeah, I don't like hospitals. You know, people die in those places.
There's some sick puppies in the hospital.
Yeah.
And people do get sick there. I don't know about other places, but here in Phoenix, when the what was that flesh-eating disease, MERS, or what was it called? MRSA.
MRSA.
There we go. Yeah, people started. That was a real thing, and people started to contract that in the hospital. They go into the hospital to get better from something, and they walk out with this MRSA.
Well, 10% of people that enter hospitals get a disease there that they didn't have when they walked in or were carried in. It's called a nosocomial disease. And the reason it's called that, it's Greek, because they don't want you to know what it means. They say, oh, they got a nosocomial disease. Oh, well, that sounds bad. How do we fix it? They don't tell you that means the hospital gave it to you. So if you look at the way hospitals have changed in the last 20 years. Even the smallest hospital has an infectious disease department. And you notice how hospital rooms have gotten twice as big as they used to be? It's because...
Honestly, I haven't, I've been well, go ahead. I hadn't noticed.
Well, they're long and narrow. It's because those rooms used to be 2-bed rooms. You could call it a semi-private room. And, very few people in the hospital had a totally private room. You had somebody else hacking and coughing and doing whatever they were doing in the bed next to you. So when they started getting serious about hospital-acquired diseases, they took the extra bed out, and that's one of the reasons hospitals got so much more expensive. Now they're building hospitals. New hospitals are built with smaller rooms that are designed for 1 bed. But in the older hospitals, they're all designed, or most of them are designed for 2 beds. So
one of the most shocking things when my wife and I first went to Africa, when we go into the hospital here in the United States, we're kind of privileged and spoiled, and we request a private room. Oh, I need a private room. It's very important. I need my privacy. Got to get better. I need a private room. In Kampala, if you got a private bed, that means that you knew some government official or the administrator of the hospital or one of the doctors. No, I'm serious. People share beds because the people, and they're happy to share a bed because the ones that can't get a bed are lying in the hallways. They're lying all on the campus, all around the hospital. People that can't afford to go in and pay for a doctor, they just pull up on the lawn in front of the hospital and well, I guess I'm here to die, unless somebody comes along that's willing to pay for their treatment. There is no, well, the government will pay for it. No, the Medicare, the Medicaid, or anything. There is no aid. The only aid is what comes from Europe, the United States, and other places in the world. Which is a whole other conversation about the Dark Continent and how it got into this mess, and the critical role that we played in making sure that happened. We enslaved these people with our good intentions. And don't get me started. But while we were there, we built an orphanage, and we've been building one since 2000. We're 18 years in. We only got about 700 kids now, 25 acres.
And you're supporting that?
Not so much anymore, because this was a God-orchestrated thing. And my wife and I launched it and bought the first piece of land and built the first buildings. And then people because once we signed off on it and began to pour what God had given us, blessed us with, as we began to pour that in, other people here in the U.S. started to look and go, well, wait a minute, what are you doing? Well, if he's doing it, it must be okay, and I want what you got. And so God just orchestrated this whole magnificent thing, and people began to come alongside. We had a doctor show up on the property from Germany, and he said, you have no high school. And we said, no, we only have, we have a baby's home, and then we have primary through 7th grade, and then once they reach 7th grade, we have to farm them out and pay the tuition for them to go to a local high school. And this German doctor who, God just dropped him one day. Chris's phone rang. Pastor Chris, his phone rang, and this German doctor says, I'd like to come out and see what you got going. Chris said, come on. And so long story short, he says, well, I'm going to build you guys a high school. That's been a few years ago. And he built a high school. These ladies showed up one day from Colorado and saw what was happening. And in talking with Chris's wife, Agnes, who was just here on a visit, their son is named Little D, well, Dwayne. They named him after me. He was born here. We kind of orchestrated that. It was before Trump took office. We brought him here just so that he would have dual citizenship because he was my namesake. How about that? How about them apples?
Yeah.
So anyhow, she starts telling these ladies from Colorado about the dream God gave her for a baby's home, which I will show you. The orphanage website's under repair. Baby lost. Now you won't be able to hear it. You got to go there in your own Chrome browser so that you can hear it. The house.
Okay.
So these ladies from Colorado, Agnes was talking to them and said, God gave me a vision. The other day I was in traffic and a baby rolled off the back of a truck and the wild dogs swooped on it. It's a very common thing in Africa because they don't have the safe harbor law that we have here in the U.S. In the U.S., if a mother has a newborn baby that she feels she cannot properly take care of, she can go to any hospital, any fire station, hand over the infant, good health, good condition, no harm, no foul. The mom gets to walk. They don't have that in Africa. You try that in Africa, they will incarcerate you and your child probably forever. So babies get abandoned. We find babies at the gate to the orphanage on a regular basis. Call the police, they come out, give the baby a name, do some paperwork, and then we take them in. So anyway, Agnes saw this horrible thing. She relays it to these ladies and says, God has really spoke to me about, I want to do something for these abandoned babies so that they don't, because they had nowhere to go, not in Kampala anyway. These ladies built this most incredible house. I mean, they spared no expense. They built it on the orphanage property, but they did, I mean, it makes our buildings look quite humble. We were in Chicken Soup for the Soul.
You're in the book?
Uh-huh. There's a lot of different editions, and we're in the Volunteering and Giving Back edition of Chicken Soup for the Soul. Yeah.
Well, you see that, folks.
Together, we're making a difference.
When you become a partner with Dwayne, not only are you helping yourself by increasing your income, but you're also helping a lot of people that they would consider what you spend for dinner to be a fortune.
You got that right. This is a great video, guys. When you go to babyloss.org, and if you're using Opera, you can do this. Oh, I didn't even show you that, Dr. Tom. You see what I just did?
Let me go back to it.
You didn't see it.
Oh, rescue the child. Yeah.
No, but watch this. You see what just happened? Now watch this. I'm going to go back to my charts. Wait, I'm even going to close my browser. What? That's insane. I can grab it. I can drag it. You can't hear it
cool.
because of the way the sound's set up. Plus, I have it muted. Is that not cool?
But that's just GoToWebinar doing that, right?
No. I'm building a custom browser for all of our partners and passport holders, and I'm using the Opera Developers platform to build it. And so this is because of the Opera platform that I'm using to build the custom browser. And this is Opera right here. Okay. Now I can go back to that page, and if I want to put it back in, I just close it. It's still there, but it just popped
That
out.
is very cool. I didn't know you were a developer.
Well, I teach myself, kind of like trading, got to do something.
Yep.
Stay out of trouble. As we move on down, there's a slider of some of the kids. Now, the ladies from Colorado were very big on the anonymity of the kids. That's why I purposely hid some of their faces here, just to let them know. And these ladies, now these are house mothers, and they're looking out the window. You don't see the whole face. Incognito. Back of his head. You get the theme here? Those are actual kids. Though if you go right there right now, well, a couple of them may have gotten adopted, but for the most part, they're all still there. His grace and your help. Joshua, Sharon, Trinity Karen, and Ruth. Now here's another great song by now Agnes and Chris and Sheila. All of these folks, they are Kampala natives. They grew up. Chris and Agnes grew up under the rule of Idi Amin. Now they're like family to us. I mean, they're, in fact, my wife tried to legally adopt Agnes, even though Agnes is about almost 40 years old. It was a statement of the bond between our families, and legally, you can't adopt a 40-year-old person in the United States. So,
Yeah.
seeking unique ministry opportunity, located on the beautiful grounds of Aggie Babies Home, which is located on the beautiful grounds of New Hope Orphanage and School. We got the ladies from Colorado. They built these guest houses. Along with the babies' home, they built these guest houses. So when people come to do ministry teams come, you know, we stir up, they get a nice deal. $50 a person per night with all meals. That's in shared rooms. Private room rates are available. Call Agnes.
That's wonderful.
You didn't know about this, did you?
Well, I knew you were doing things in Africa. I didn't know where. I actually graduated from seminary with a Ugandan pastor, and he got his doctorate at the same time I did. And he's invited me many times to come to Uganda and preach, but
What part of Uganda?
I don't know.
Find out if it's Kampala, because man, if you go, I'll go. If you go, I'll go. I need to go back.
Okay.
It's been a while since I've been.
I'll carry your bags for you.
No, you won't. Hey, but you know what? Straight to the plate. 100% of every tax-deductible gift goes straight to the plate of a hungry child. Feed a child.
Cool.
Okay. And then there's also, I think we've got this offline at the moment, but maybe not. Yeah, maybe so. Let me try to fold. We have an NGO, Love Works International. You know what an NGO is, right?
Yes.
Love Works.
A non-governmental organization that's recognized by the UN.
Yes, sir. That's what we are. I gotta get online and get this. We've been trying to gussy it up, make it look pretty. I mean, we've only had 18 years to get it right, you know. So everybody's always got to tweak something. Let's try this. All right, back to you. Go ahead, caller. First time caller, long time listener. Go ahead. That's your time.
Oh, I thought you were talking to somebody that is actually calling into the show.
I was talking to you. I asked Kim if she wanted to open up wanted me to open up her mic, because she said that no way would the markets be higher if Hillary was elected. She says no way. She said it twice, no way, at the beginning.
Okay.
Now,
well, she may be right. You know, I just know they would have gone down a lot. Whether they would have recovered by now, I don't. That's a guess. By the way, the website you're looking for is loveworksint.org.
I thought I tried that. See, Dr. Tom, I don't see as well as I once did. I'm no spring chicken like you. Is it .org or .com?
It's .org.
Okay. Thought for sure. Oh, you know what?
LoveWorks Ministries International.
No. Here's the deal. Because the browser, did it pop up right at the end? I was going to say the browser has superpowers, and if it's not a secure site, it might not let me go there.
Oh, I see.
But
yeah, I'm looking at it now. It's.
We're gonna try it one more time.
Or maybe there's more than one LoveWorks too.
No,
this one's got a New Hope High School. No, yeah, and it's in Uganda. Yeah, Aggie's Baby Home, high school.
We did get it back online. Okay, good. Awesome.
Yeah.
In fact, is that one of the little guys from the baby's home? That's Chris and Agnes right there. Now, the way we met Chris initially, my wife and I went to church on a Wednesday night. They say that people who go to church on the Sunday morning love the church. And people who go on a Sunday night love the pastor. But people who go on a Wednesday night love God. So we went, not knowing anything special was afoot. Someone had sponsored Pastor Chris, who was a young man at the time, 18 years ago, had sponsored him to come to Phoenix, Arizona for the International Pastors Conference that Tommy Barnett has up on the hill once a year. I guess his son's doing it now. My sister-in-law, my wife's sister, also went to the Pastors Conference. She met Chris, he was just standing in the hallway looking lost, and she's like, hey, can I help you? And they got to talking. She asked for him to be able to come and speak that Wednesday night at our church, and permission was granted. He came, he spoke, he shared the dream that God had given him. At the time, him and his wife, Agnes, had 11 orphans living in their house with no running water and no electricity. And here he is in the United States sharing his dream from this pulpit with a church of about 50 people. That's on a Sunday, not a Wednesday night. So, he shared his dream. He never wants to ask for a dime. He never said support me or fund me or help me. He was just on fire. He was just sharing a dream. He was excited. And I don't think he'd ever preached in America before. And after about 15 minutes, he just went straight into the Word and delivered a great sermon. Little difficult to track with him at first until you get used to his accent and his cadence. It's a little bit British, a little bit Uganda, a little bit, I don't know, sometimes I think I hear like a Chinese kind of an influence. But anyway, after service, my wife and I went up and introduced ourselves, started talking to him, and we said, let's do it. And he goes, do what? Well, that dream, that thing. He goes, oh, well, what do you mean? Well, God said that someday you're going to be in charge of this big orphanage with hundreds of kids. Let's do it. And he started to back away from us. He goes, you're pulling my leg, you know. And I said, no, we're not. You know, God put it on our hearts as we're sitting there together listening to you. We just looked at each other and nodded. We didn't say a word. My wife and I, we just looked at each other and we both nodded. And that was it. That night, the lives of thousands of children was forever changed. Because two people who didn't know any better went to church on a Wednesday night, and when God thumped them on the back of the head and said, go help that man, we had enough faith in our God to get up and go. We didn't have the education, we didn't have the money, we didn't have the contacts, we didn't have the know-how, but we had God. We had God.
Amen.
And he grabbed us all up in his arms and loved on us. And now, look at what just a faith the size of a mustard seed. We got evidence. We could take this into a court of law. In fact, when I adopted my two children, Gabriel, who's now 16, and Emily, who's now 11, Chris just happened to be here in the U.S. on a visit. We do an annual fundraising tour. We bring his wife, and then we'll bring him. We don't bring them at the same time. They need a break from each other. But, no, I'm serious. She'll be back next November. She was just here. She'll be back next November. And so, what was I telling you before I got to tell you that
about them coming over for fundraising?
Yeah, right before that, right before I launched into that, I was going to tell you something. Anyway, this is Chris was here when we adopted, and he was actually in the courtroom. He came to the court that morning, and I mean, think about this. My wife and I, we were childless our whole marriage. We tried. I guess we weren't doing something right. But anyway, we even went to see the doctor once. And then
I'll explain to you how that works sometime if you have a little time.
Yeah, please. That's why we need to get together. That's a young man's game, though. But after we went to the doctor one time, we knew it was going to come down to like some tests where one of us would have to be told, you're faulty, you're malfunctioning. And we didn't want that. We did not want that division in our marriage. We didn't want to be, grumpy old people going, oh, I could have had children if it wasn't for you. Your boys don't swim, or your eggs aren't fertile, or whatever the case might be. We didn't want that. So we never went for any of the tests. Maybe it could have fixed it, maybe not. I don't know. We said, you know what, God? Now, we were in the midst of our debauchery at the time. We both grew up in Christian homes. She grew up Catholic. I grew up Pentecostal holiness. And then she ran away at a young age and met the world, and I joined the Navy, which was my version of... See, I come from a Southern family where you're polite and genteel, so I had to join the Navy to run away. Like, my parents wouldn't let me run away. Her parents just let her run away. She went to California, smoked pot, slept on a nude beach, you know, all that stuff. My parents, they would never sign off on that. I had to join the military. But that was my running away. And it began a death spiral for 20 years. And it wasn't until I was 37, in 1996, that we came out of that tailspin together, she and I. Somehow still together. And by the year 2000, 4 years later, we had our first building up. That's the grace of God
fantastic.
on a man's life, man. And we were very sick out there in the world, very, very sick. And we've tried to, you know, the grace of God, make up for it. That's my pastor's, who now, I got him roped into this. Now he lives in Kenya. He's got his own work in Kenya. Him and his wife retired. The guest house, affordable and elegant. Hey, that's nice. Who did that?
Yes.
Gosh. So anyway, we got.
We hear people's stories, you know, what God has done in their lives. It's pretty amazing.
Oh man, imagine being me. I wake up every day and I have to live up to what God's done in my life. I mean, I can't back out now. You know what I'm saying? I got to press in, press on, press ahead. What a wonderful life. What an absolutely wonderful life. I'm not that smart. I'm not that tall. I'm really not that good looking anymore. I used to be, though. Oh, brother. Now, I do still have a luxurious mane, and that's probably going to be the last thing to go, I guess. I'm thinking about cutting it off. No, I do. I got a, what do they call that? The hairstyle of the gods? A mullet. Yeah, I got a mullet. So you can't see it in that one picture. I got the tail tucked behind. I just don't want to be the oldest hippie, you know, like, well, walk into a restaurant and somebody goes, oh, God, there's the oldest hippie, the last hippie on earth, you know. I don't want that. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the last hippie on earth. Go ahead, caller.
All right. Well, just to kind of finish up with what we were talking about.
Please. Sorry I interrupted.
No, it's okay. It's fascinating hearing people's stories, you know. I've written a few books, and I've been thinking about, you know, one day it'd be neat to write a book on people's stories. You know, we call them testimonies when we're being religious, but, you know, it's really just your story in concert with God. But anyway, overall, the markets were down 5%, 7%, and 9% in October. Okay, the Dow 5, S&P 7, and the NASDAQ composite down 9.2. So I think we might be seeing a most of the market, in my opinion, for the last couple of years has been driven by people's excitement about Trump. Now, there's been, you know, obviously, there's never any one thing that moves markets. I always hate it when I look at these talking heads on TV and they say,
the market went higher today because, oh, give me a break.
Yeah. I mean, most of them don't know anything about the market. They're reading off of a teleprompter, but they got good hair, you know.
They do.
And
nice skin.
Yeah. But there's never any one reason. I always give the example, you know, if I help a little old lady across the street, was it because I was compassionate? I hope so. But also, did I realize people were watching me and would think I was a good guy? Did I think I was going to get brownie points from the Lord? You know, so it's the same thing with the market. But I think a huge part of this, and this is not original with me, obviously, is the Trump bump. Just people got excited about the markets, about the economy, about jobs, about everything when it was clear that Trump was going to win the White House. And so whatever portion, I can't tell you what percentage of the move has been from that. But you know,
there's an honest talking head.
I'm sorry?
I said, there's an honest talking head.
But my assessment of one of the big reasons for the drop last month has not, you know, it's not just a waning of enthusiasm for Trump, but because for a lot of last month, the people that people listen to were thinking that the Democrats were going to retake the House. Okay.
The blue
and
wave.
yeah, so if they had, I think that we would probably see the market go down more. I don't think they're going to. I'm not a prophet either, but I did stay at Holiday Inn Express last week, so I think that, well, that's where all the brain surgeons and stuff go, you know.
Okay.
But I do believe we're going to squeak by. You know, history is against the Republicans. History says that they're going to lose 20 to 40 seats and all that kind of thing, which would put the Democrats in charge. But I believe that they're going to hold a House. It might just be by the skin of their teeth. And so this month will probably be a strong month for the market. But overall, just long term, I'm cautious on it. I wouldn't be buying, you know, 3-year leaps or anything like that. So anyway, let's talk about gold.
Sure.
Because if
it has moved silver ahead today, along with gold. In fact, let's take a look at gold. Let's bring up today's chart.
Okay.
And we'll go 30 minutes. Okay. Now our alert for gold is right here. I believe. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go over here. GCZ. 8. Last night at 11:36 Pacific, we sent out an alert to consider buying 12.25 with our final target at 12.29, pointing out the weekly zone overhead. And of course, our alerts are always trail if the opportunity presents. And so from that point at 12.25, which is right here, important prices, important areas, almost always tested. That's what we found. So this first move up from 12.25 takes us up to 12.2850. That's $350 per contract. Get back below the trigger, off we go again. The second trigger and third trigger will often offer the most opportunity for the least amount of risk. And your stop loss on this one is real tight, right here. So not a lot of risk on this. And we've just hit 12.39. That's $1,400 per contract available. And we have no exit signal in sight yet.
Nice. So a lot of people listening to you right now made a lot of money if they followed your signal.
Yes, yes, they certainly did. And that service runs 24/7.
So you have like little elves that stay up 24 hours a day working the keys.
I'm training. I'm training. So yeah. There we go. That's gold. Go gold. Now, what was it you wanted to point out? We had a bullish cross right here, and that's our, when we're blue and climbing, like we are here, all the way up, and here, it's just a matter of getting long. It all starts, every trade we take starts with a cross. Either a bullish cross, like this, or a bearish cross like this. That's what we do all day long across all the different markets. In a nutshell, that's it.
Oh.
So now, you were going to start with something about gold when I brought this chart up, so go ahead.
No, I'm glad. I always like the way you explain things.
Thank you.
How would you like to make money on gold, whether it's going up or going down?
I would like that very
without shorting, without having to short.
I would like that very much.
Yeah. Well, that's what investment grade gold is all about. Gold bullion, which is, you know, the chart you're just showing, it tracks just the metal without anything else
Correct.
added to it. You have to be right. You have to buy at the right place and sell at the right place. You know, instead of doing like most people do, you know, buy high and sell low. But you have to know what you're doing, or if you don't know what you're doing, you get a mentor like Dwayne. But for a good chunk of my precious metals money, I have it in a set it and forget it investment. Basically, I buy the investment grade gold, and I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to think about it. It's like being on vacation. Because if gold goes up, the investment grade gold will go up, but more. And if gold goes down, usually the worst thing that happens with investment grade gold is that it gets flat for a while. And if gold goes down a whole lot, investment grade gold could go down, but to a lot lower degree. And that's the lower end investment grade gold. The higher end investment grade gold doesn't even get affected when you have things like 2013 and gold dropped 30-some%. It didn't wiggle because the really high quality gold, only a small portion of its value is in the metal. Most of the value is in the extrinsic part of it, kind of like options, where you've got the intrinsic value, the in the money value, and then the extrinsic value is the time value. Well, with investment grade gold, the intrinsic is the bullion portion, and the extrinsic is the rarity and condition. Now, I was just looking at a couple of coins that we have coming in right now and comparing
coming from
some
Europe?
of them. Yes.
Everything is from Europe right now, correct?
Right now, we do have some buyers that go into the Far East and the Near East and sometimes even South America. But the majority, the really good coins, like the ones I'm about to describe to you, come from Europe. So you can buy coins that, we've got coins that are maybe just a few $100s over spot, where there was only 3,000 of them ever minted. Well, that's a rare coin. Anything under 5,000 is rare. But it's
what would prompt a country, a monarchy, whatever, to? Why do they only produce 3,000?
Well, because they're smart. The British Mint is so popular now because they have been disciplined. Okay, the U.S. market, every time we come out with, say, like American Eagles every year, at least 1 million, some years 3-4 million or more. Mm-hmm. So they're never going to be rare.
Okay.
And so therefore, the Mint doesn't make a lot of money on them because people know they're just buying bullion. Mm-hmm. Whereas the British Mint, I mean, they've got more experience with rare coins than any nation on earth. There were coins being minted on what is now British soil. At the time, it was Roman owned, but 2,150 years ago, 150 years before the time of Christ. So, as you can imagine, those coins that maybe they only made 100 of them initially, and over the years, some have been lost, some have been melted down, some have been damaged. There may only be 5 left in the entire world.
Is it true you have one of the original 40 pieces of silver?
No.
Okay.
No.
What do you think those were? What were those coins? When they say 40 pieces of silver, what was... I know the denarii, wasn't that a form of currency in the day of Jesus?
Yeah.
The denarii?
It was actually a Roman denarius. Denarius is the singular, denarii is the plural.
Oh, okay.
And
that's what they plucked out of the fish's mouth.
No, those were actually gold coins.
Oh, those were gold coins. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. To pay the temple tax.
Right.
But the...
have you ever seen coins from that time period? Wow.
Yeah. I met a Philippine, not a Filipino, he's a missionary to the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
And he was at one of the coin shows. He's retired, and he got really interested in coins. And he had this display that ran it's about 3 feet tall, and it was some sort of an easel kind of thing, and it ran almost 40 feet long. And he had all the journeys of the Apostle Paul. He had the maps laid out there, and people do with pins and yarn,
Mm-hmm.
and trace out all of the journeys. And then every one of the cities that the Bible mentions that he stopped in and preached and so on, he would have a coin from that era. And it was fascinating. I wanted to buy the thing from him, but he offered to sell it to me. The fun for him was in building it. So I could have got it for, I don't know, less than $20,000. But I didn't have any place big enough to put the thing. This was set up in a huge exhibit hall.
Well, yeah, it's 40,
anyway,
you said 40 feet long, right?
Almost 40 feet, yeah.
How would you
Each of the
ship that?
cases.
How would you begin to ship that? I guess it comes apart.
Yeah, they're an individual, like 3 foot by 4 foot cases.
Gotcha.
I'm sorry, 3 foot by 5 foot cases, and about 4 inches high, with a glass top and they lock. That's how they display their coins at the coin shows.
So the pieces of silver, seriously, do you think they were just silver coins of some?
Yeah, I do. And
because you said gold coin for the temple tax. I don't know that we all. Was there a standard gold coin back in that day?
Yeah, there were several different ones.
Okay.
But we don't know what kind of coins. There's no description of it that was in the fish's mouth. I'm assuming they were small gold coins because it was to pay the temple tax for Jesus and the disciples, and so.
And it wasn't a fish's mouth, so it couldn't be too very large, could it?
Right.
Depends on the size of the fish.
There you go. But we do have.
Jonah might have something to say about that. I don't know.
Right. We do have pretty good certainty that the 30 pieces of silver that Judas was paid to betray Jesus were denarii. I thought you said 30.
No, I said, okay, good. Hey, you're good. All right, go ahead.
Anyway, if there was any way to validate that a particular coin today was one of those coins, the denarius, which is not worth very much at all for that period, just because of the notoriety of it, would be worth, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But there's no way to know. There are coins that historical documentation shows that a particular coin was handled by a certain person or owned by a certain person, and just because of that, they're worth a whole lot more. Like, I'll just give you a quick example. Eli Lilly of cigarette and cigar and sundries fame was an avid collector of U.S. coins.
Eli Lilly?
And that was back.
Wasn't he the paper cup guy?
Well, no, Eli Lilly, it was what they used to call a sundries company, just all kinds of stuff that people buy. Grocery stores would buy it and so on. But he also had tobacco. But this was back when it was a good idea to buy U.S. coins. These days, I don't buy any U.S. coins. It's been 7 or 8 years since we have, because they pretty much peaked. And now the European coins, we're buying them 10 cents on the dollar to the U.S. coins. Coins of the same age and quality and rarity and purity and so on. So they're much the better buy. But he did buy the most complete collection of U.S. coins. And he had one of every U.S. coin that was ever produced up to that time in excellent mint condition. And he spent a total of $50,000 putting that collection together. So a lot of the coins he bought just for a few bucks. Well, when he died, his kids were sort of short-sighted, and they said to the guy handling the estate, just sell them. We want the money. So it sold for right around $50 million. Well, like I say, they were short-sighted because it's worth more than double that today. But what led me into that thought was the provenance. If you get a coin that's graded by NGC or PCGS, and it says Eli Lilly collection or the Eisenberg collection or any of the other really famous collections, they're worth more than that same coin in the same condition because of that provenance. I personally held in my hand a coin that was minted by Sir Isaac Newton and hand delivered to Queen Anne. And so it was held by 3 very important people. Okay, you didn't get that one.
It's a fascinating backstory. It was held by 3 famous people, you being the 3rd one. I got it.
There you go. Okay. Were you supposed to laugh or something?
I'm sorry.
Anyway, that coin is worth about, or at least it sold for, about $450,000. It's probably quite a bit more than that today. So that's an extremely rare coin with a very high pedigree. But coins that are not so rare, you can pick them up for, like I say, as little as a few $100s over spot. The difference is that if gold goes down, they're what we call near bullion coins. Most of the value is the gold value. Very little is the rarity. So if gold bullion goes down, the near bullion coins will go down. They're what we call bullion sensitive. And they won't go down as much as the bullion because they do have that rarity holding them up. And if bullion only goes down a little, they won't go down at all. But the really rare coins, they're not affected by the price of bullion at all. It's just like if the price of oil paints dropped, the price of the Mona Lisa would not go down, would it?
Well, a little off topic on gold, but inquiring minds want to know, will the Iraqi dinar ever be worth anything?
I doubt it.
That's a thing, right? People are on the internet right now, shucking and jiving and selling and pushing this currency that it's not coming back. Sort of like the Confederate dollar, right?
Exactly. If you think about it logically, why would the currency from a bloody, murderous dictator ever become worth more? I mean, I've seen every story in the world. Some people send me emails saying, well, it's a few years back. They said, Hillary Clinton's buying it. So that means we're going to have to revalue. I'm thinking, yeah, if Hillary's buying it, then that definitely is a sign to sell,
It's got that chain letter mentality to the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something. This is a little techie, but I was interested enough to spend some time doing this. I started looking at some of these websites that are supposedly neutral sites where just people can post their thoughts and so on about the dinar. And most of them had glowing reports, and they would assaulted a few people being negative about it. But overall, these are like pump the thing up. And I checked out the IP addresses on about a half dozen of these sites, and all but one of them were the same IP address as sales sites for the dinar, which just means that those 5 companies didn't have enough sense to use a different IP address for their fake site that was pumping it up so they could make money on it. The 6th one was probably also from a dinar seller, but he was smart enough to use a different IP address or mask his IP. So it's a lot of scam going on. I used to feel about cryptocurrency the way I feel about the dinar. I don't now. I've done a lot of research on it. Matter of fact, if anybody's interested, I wrote an article called "What About Those Crazy Cryptos?" So when you go to CFRNgold.com and ask for your gold education starter package, if you're interested in seeing what my research says about cryptos, I'll be glad to send the article. You've read that, haven't you, Dwayne?
Yes, I have. Very good. Outstanding.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you know, I guess it says here there's no better time than right now to buy the Iraqi dinar. It's on the internet. I mean, it must be true.
Well, if it's on the internet, it's got to be true, of course.
Right. Okay.
So
Here's a
I take back everything I said.
Here's a 25,000 dinar note, and that'll set you back $38.
Such a bargain. I mean, for a piece of paper.
125,000 dinar note. Yeah. Now, I'm just curious what this individual, this businessman, why the Iraqi dinar? Oh, the most popular currency sold at Treasury Vault by far is the new Iraqi dinar. The IQD is the official currency of post-Saddam Iraq. We exchange the following denominations: 25,000, 10,000, 5,000, 1,000, all the way down to 50. Buy the Iraqi dinar from the Treasury Vault with confidence. The name dinar is not exclusive to Iraqi currency. The word dinar is the name of the official currency of several countries around the world: Algeria, Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Libya, Republic of Macedonia, Serbia, Sudan, and on. Despite these countries using the same name to represent their currency notes, each country's currency stands on its own, and it's sovereign, independent, different, and unique to the country they represent. So, understanding the dinar is the currency of Iraq, issued by the Central Bank of Iraq. The dinar was introduced into circulation to replace the Indian rupee. Due to UN sanctions after the Gulf War in the early 90s, the previously used Swiss printing was no longer available due to sanctions to create the original Iraqi dinar notes. So a new note was issued. After the deposition of Saddam Hussein in 2003, the Iraqi Governing Council and the Office for Reconstruction and Humanitarian Assistance began printing the new dinar to maintain the money supply. So is this a bunch of hooey, or is there any truth to any of this? I mean, and does it matter? And even if it does, and even if it's everything he says it is, why should it go up in value?
There is no logical reason for it to go up in value. Okay. I mean, I know people who've made a whole major business out of this, and they've gotten people to turn over their dinars to them, and there's going to be this big revalue, and everybody's going to become millionaires. And I mean, I wish it were true. I just got sick of people bugging me about buying it, so I bought $1,000 worth just to shut them up. You know, sometimes you join an MLM just so people stop bugging you.
Oh, that's like me and CMKM Diamonds. If you do a web search, one of my first press releases, we were exposing the CEO of CMKX was the trading symbol. CMKM Diamonds. Urban Cassavant was the CEO. Oh my goodness, what a character! We spent, in fact, that was part of the impetus for creating CFRN. Part of it was naked shorting, part of it was Urban Cassavant. But the faithful, the ones who had drank the Kool-Aid, started complaining about me bad-mouthing their stock because I had no skin in the game. So I bought 20 million shares at 0.00003 or something. And I still have a stock certificate around here somewhere. We chased Urban all over America. My friend Mark Falk wrote a book, Shorting the Naked Truth, Shorting the American Dream. And we chased Urban. We found him up in Canada. Every time he get a new phone number, ring, ring, it's us again. And then, I don't know, I found futures, and I was just done. I walked away from that little mini-series in my life, the whole naked shorting, because I found futures, and it was electronic, and it was clean and fair and decent, and there was no market maker, and no CEO running off with the checkbook and the secretary and the coffee pot. So,
well, the dinar has become the most widely known, but there's a lot of different ones. You've heard of the Vietnamese dong?
Well, the Treasury Vault made sure that I did, yes. As I linger on their webpage for just another moment. In fact, the dong's not all they got. They got the Chilean peso, the Korean won. Oh my goodness, the Korean won, I don't know what it looks like today, but when I was there in the late 70s, as part of the United States Navy, when we went to Korea, and come onto the boat to convert our currency for us. And if you converted $100, which if you've been out to sea for 90 days, you know, $100 are just getting you started. But the money was so big, it was like comical. I mean, we're all walking off the ship, and we've got money coming out of our pockets, and we've got it in our shoes and in our socks and in our underwear because our pockets are already full. It was these comically huge notes that were not worth very much at the time. Got the Qatar Rial, the Thailand Baht, the Philippine Peso. Oh my, boy! I'll tell you what. For $10, you could go out in the Philippines. The peso was. We were stationed in Yokosuka, Japan, but we went to the Philippines a lot. Now, in Japan, it would cost you $5 American to buy a beer. A few hours later, you're in the Philippines. $10, you could stay out all night and barely make it back to the boat the next morning. And you still have money. You still have change in your pocket. Yeah.
I wanted a mission trip to the Philippines, and
not a place for a missionary. Well, you know what? We were in the military towns, Olongapo, Subic Bay. It's not like that in the rest of the country. So you probably had a very good experience. You had a good experience.
Well, yeah, I was connected to some people who were permanent missionaries there. I was just going there to support them, and you know, I'm a worship leader, and so I went and taught them a lot of the new worship songs that were going on in the United States, and counseled a lot of the, you know, because they get tired, you know, they get exhausted really. But anyway, I was there. I don't remember
they need
how
to be
long.
fed just like anyone else.
Yeah, and they were giving out all the time.
Too many pastors have gone off the deep end. One that I personally know very closely, simply because he had nobody to talk to.
Yeah.
He was surrounded by his fan base and nothing else. People telling him how awesome he was when he knew that when he went in his house and shut the door, he was not so awesome. He had no accountability partner. He had no one to mentor him and spur him on and call him on his own crap. And he's out of the ministry today. Gone down the road. There was no huge scandal or anything. He just laid it down.
Burn out.
Yeah.
Burn out. But, you know, you talk about the difference in the currencies. I flew to Japan and stayed there for 2 days, and it cost me more for those 2 days than it cost me for 2 weeks in the Philippines.
Yeah, right, exactly.
A Pepsi was a peso, which is around a nickel. I paid, I think, $4 for a Pepsi in Japan. I just had to try out that Kobe steak. You know, you cut it with a fork. They don't even give you a knife. It's so tender. And I think it cost. Oh, it was close to $100.
Okay.
And that was cheap, really. I mean, you know, today it would be probably $400 or $500 because of inflation. This was back in the early 80s.
Okay, I was late 70s when I was there.
But just one further thought of the dinar. Sometimes these fake things take on a life of their own.
Yeah, like this diamond mine in Urban Cassavant. Yeah.
Yeah.
He would go to whenever there'd be. This company, they had no diamonds, and all they had was shareholder money to operate on. He went out and bought a funny car, hired a driver, and as they would tour around from city to city, he would go to the hospital, visit the sick children, as he milked and milked and milked and milked the shareholder base. It was the most obscene, criminal thing I ever laid eyes on. That's why I spent money on press releases to try to, and started a radio station to let people know that this guy was trying to suck the very life out of them. But I'm sorry, I detracted from your meaningful goal to answer the question. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, just a quick example of sometimes things that are valueless become valuable. When I first started learning about inflation, which of course led me to gold, because gold is the best defense against inflation, I read a lot, did a lot of research on Zimbabwe. And basically in the year 2000, Zimbabwe dollar was almost equal to the US dollar. It was $1.25 Zimbabwe to $1 US.
The Mugabe got his hands on it.
Yeah, and the Mugabe just screwed everything up. And within 4 years, they were issuing the largest banknote in the history of the world, which was $100 million note, and it was worth about 3 cents US. Today, it has no monetary value whatsoever. But I thought, what a great way to illustrate the dangers of printing money, debt, and inflation. So I bought packs of those 100 note packs for $200.
What a great make-a-point tool. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I was making paying $2 a piece for them, and for years, as I traveled around the world, because I've spoken to this in many different nations and most states, I would give one of those Iraqi dinars to everybody who attended my seminars. So I'd give it out, thousands of them. And then I started getting emails saying, you know, I attended one of your seminars and you gave me a Zimbabwe note, the 100 trillion. Now, the 50 trillion are not worth near as much today, but 100 trillion dollar ones and so on. And do you have any more of those? Could I have some more?
How many
have any more
zeros
free
are on that
ones?
note? Are there...
Well, it's 100 and then trillion. So 1,000 is 3, a million is 6, a billion is 9, and a trillion is 12, plus the 100. So it's 14 zeros.
Wow.
One
and
of
they actually
14
put
zeros.
that on the note. They put all the zeros on the
Oh,
note.
it's the whole thing. Takes up half the top right.
My goodness.
So people, I started getting all these emails, people asking me if I could get some more of them. So I said, I wonder what this is about. So I started looking on eBay, and I saw these very notes that I was giving away for free, selling for, 10, 20, sometimes if they're in good condition, $30.
Wow.
So I took the last package I had of them, of 100, and I sent them off to P&G, which is the paper money arm of the professional coin service.
Okay, I got you.
And I had them graded, and the ones that grade 70 are selling for about $40.
Really?
And I bought them for $2.
And that $40 is based on the fact that it's a $100 trillion note?
No, it's just the rarity and the condition. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Because when they grade them, I mean, some of mine graded like as 60 and 61, 62. The ones that graded 70, which is basically perfect, they sold for the most. And if it's a lower grade, if it had any, of course, none of mine had any tears or wrinkles or anything in them, because they were right out of the plastic wrap from the mint, from the printing press, the National Printing Press. But if they were circulated, they would sell for a lot less, but still, at least $10, $12. And I bought thousands of them for $2. So, like I say, they sort of took on a life of their own. They have no monetary value. They're never going to revalue and become worth anything in real money.
Yeah.
But just because they're a conversation piece and there's a limited number of them, the last time I tried to buy a pack of them, once I realized what was going on, they wanted $15 a piece.
Wow, that's a jump.
Yeah. So
Quite a jump.
that's just in the for what it's worth department.
When I was a kid, we would go vacationing in the Smoky Mountains, and we would stop in the little store, the little tourist trap, I think that's how they called it. And the front of it looked like a teepee. And you'd go inside and you could buy little tomahawks and little headdresses, because that's where the Cherokee Nation was, up in the Smoky Mountains. And you could buy Confederate money. Now, as I was relating this story the other day, for the 100th time, my wife decided to seize on it and go, well, that wasn't really Confederate money. I'm like, well, I was a kid. I don't know anything. She said, that was just like novelty printed up stuff. I go, I'm pretty sure I remember somebody telling me it really was Confederate money and that they were just selling it because it was like worthless and that nobody wanted it. But the more I think about what she said, I'm thinking she might be right. What are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, there obviously was Confederate money, but whether the money you were
is it
in
possible
possession
that
of,
in like a gift shop, like a tourist attraction kind of place, in the gift shop they're selling these packs of Confederate money? Is it possible it could have been actual Confederate money?
Possible, but highly unlikely.
Okay, all right. So she put one in her column. She'll be excited to hear that.
Without actually seeing it, she couldn't tell. But
Joan asked if you would send her one of those bills.
Yeah.
Joan, I asked him. That's all I could do. She's in the chat box.
Let me get back to you on that, Joan.
She says I have one.
Oh, she has one. Okay.
I have one.
Well, if it's a good shape.
No, she says, doctor sent me one of those bills. Oh, because she went to, I know where she went. She went to CFRNgold.com, didn't she? Did you send it to her?
No. No, I haven't given any of those out in a long time.
Joan, help me.
Ask
You
her
say,
she got it at
doctor
one of my
sent me
seminars.
one of those bills. Several years ago you sent it to her. Oh, she found, you knew this guy before he showed up here? Seriously? She goes, yep.
What's her last name?
Well, we had this little anonymity thing going on the radio, but I'll type it in for you, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Joe, unless you know,
No.
We never know when somebody's got an outstanding warrant or something, you know.
Yeah.
Can I type in your name, Joan, or would you rather not? It's okay. She said okay. All right. So based on that, I'm going to type it into your chat. If you look down at your chat, you'll see it.
Privately. Yeah.
Yes, privately. Okay. I normally talk out loud when I type, but I'm going to try to refrain, John. How come you never told me before? So, did you get it?
Yes, I did.
It's been a couple years.
Yeah, I'll tell you why in a second.
She was a former Dr. Corona parishioner. That's how she knows you.
Okay. Yep. First met her in 2014. She sent me an email, and I did send her a Zim note.
Oh, that's what they're called, Zim notes?
Well, I do. It's just,
okay.
It's quicker.
I thought it might be a thing.
Yes, he called in and asked for the 10-10-10 article. And so, good to hear from you, Joan. You still getting my emails for the webinars?
It's a small world after all. Yes, she says yes, she is.
Well, good. Join us on the webinar. Love to see you.
She said she loves your article. Which article? This guy's pretty prolific. Most of them? Love his article. Which one? Most of them? That's good. Joan, can you send me some of the ones you don't like? Those are the ones I want to read.
Well, listen, I'm about to turn into a pumpkin here, Dwayne.
All right, buddy.
But
hey,
it's
you've
been
been
fun.
Around with our TV station. You on that?
Yeah, very interesting.
Okay. All right, because I got some new stuff coming up and about. I'm gonna, if you'll allow me, I'm gonna put some. I'm gonna hand you some code, and you'll be able to put some real time, if you want, gold charts. Futures charts, any of that stuff you want, or any of your web properties. I know you have quite a few, so if you have some somewhere that you always thought, you know, a chart would look really good here with live data updating 20, you know, as the markets trade without any interaction from you. Plus, you can go in there and you can change the time frame, and you can do stuff. So I'll send you the code if you want to use it. You're welcome to.
That'd be great. Thanks.
I'll do it.
And Joan, I'm gonna send you an email. Okay. By the way, one thing before I go, Dwayne, you know, I told you about my friend who he's a real master trader in the crypto space. So if you'd like to have him on sometime, I could probably make arrangements. You know, this big crypto intelligence seminar they're doing out in Las Vegas in 2 weeks. He's going to be one of the speakers there, and they've got some of the top name brand people in the world. They've got the biggest crypto trader from China. John Nigerian's going to be there.
Chinese way.
Yeah, Chinese.
There? Okay.
Yeah, Nigerian's one of
How much are
the.
tickets?
and a guy named Schwim, Charlie Schwim or something.
I don't know.
Can't remember, but the Traders Expo is putting it on. So if you just go to tradersexpo.com,
Right.
the expo itself is free. This can be on November 11th to 12th. So 2 weeks from last Monday and Tuesday. But the third day, they're charging for it. I think it's $300, but it's going to be a real high end. There's only about 500 people going to be there, and it's, you know, you get private interaction with some of the big wigs in the crypto world. So if you're interested in that,
I'm real curious. How much are the tickets, and do they accept Bitcoin?
well, that's a good question. They should, shouldn't they? You
Well,
know?
I'll tell you what. If they don't, it's not a conference I want to go to.
Well, this is their very first one they're doing, and I didn't see anything about that, but I wasn't looking for it. But I imagine they're doing another one in Manhattan next March, and I imagine by that time at least they will have it set up. But they just saw that there was so much interest in cryptocurrencies, and so they put this together. It's what they call it the Master Trader Conference. I've been to some of their conferences like this before, where they're private and you get to really know the speakers. And I found that the ones I went to were $500, but it was worth it to me. But even the regular Traders Expo, they're going to have what they call Crypto Alley, and there's a section there where the booths are all crypto, because you know Traders Expo, they have everything there.
Oh, they do. Oh, they do. Read the stars and not the bars. I could go on, but why?
Yeah, right. So, anyway, if you'd like, his name's Mike Kelly.
Yeah, I'd love to have him on the show. Have him get a hold of me.
Okay.
And we'll figure it out, and yeah, we'll find a day and a time and get together. And if we get along, we'll have him back for a repeat performance.
Okay.
All right.
Good job.
I'll talk to
All right, well,
you.
listen, God
I might
bless
sneak
you
up on
and
later
all the
today.
people listening today.
All right.
What's that?
I said I might sneak up on you later today. I'll send you an email.
Okay.
Just
I'll be
to
around.
let you know that I would like to speak with you, and then you can contact me at your leisure.
Okay, sounds
All right.
good.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate you being on the show today. Folks, let's have a round of applause for Dr. Tom. Thanks, Dr. Tom.
Bye-bye.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I got to get up and get out of here. Now, our good word for the day. Here's the thing. Okay? We're going there right now. Well, what did you think I was going to do? Of course not. Good word for the day. We've been talking about the roller coaster ride of life. Right? Am I right? That's what we've been talking about, right? Okay. Well, you know what they say, all good things got to come to an end, but not yet. Ecclesiastes 3:11, he has made everything appropriate in its time. Life on the peaks is a picnic. We talked yesterday about there's valleys and there's mountaintops. Valleys and mountaintops, valleys and mountaintops. And when you're on a mountaintop, it would do you well to remember that there's a valley in your future. And when you're in a valley, it'll be very comforting to know that there's a mountaintop in your future. Peaks and valleys, peaks and troughs, whatever you want to call them, valleys, mountaintops. I think you understand. Life on the peaks is a picnic, but what about life in the pits? In times of turmoil, we're struggling, we feel heavy, we're filled with doubt, maybe we get a little lonely, maybe we fail at something really important to us. Where do we go? In his classic Screw Tape Letters, C.S. Lewis describes a senior devil talking to his nephew, Wormwood, about their mutual enemy, God. Do not be deceived, Wormwood. Our cause is never in greater danger than when a human, no longer desiring, but still intending to do our enemy's will, looks around upon a universe from which every trace of him seems to have vanished, asks why he has been forsaken, and still obeys. when our pit is deep and God seems to be nowhere around, when our prayers rebound like empty echoes, what then? What then? No longer desiring. All positive emotions just, what do? They shut down. You felt it, you've experienced it, but still intending. Nothing's left except the sheerest of gutsy faith. It's all we can do to muster it up and stay afloat. When it doesn't even feel real anymore, we trust, and by faith and nothing else, what do? On a Wednesday night, we obey. Obedience is so much more pleasing to God than your sacrifice. Our senses get so distorted by the world, even numbed, especially when we're in the pits. We begin doubting the reality of God's word, where we stand with the one who came to save us, believing our emotional pain is evidence that we are lost and things are hopeless. I tell you, they're hopeless. They're hopeless. No, they're not. You know better than that. But the desert season leaves us feeling distant, alienated from God. God who? Where? Such sensations appear credible to the pit dwellers, while thinking and speaking faith sounds. It's all so unconvincing, right? But the enemy knows his cause is never in greater danger than when a child of God looks around upon a universe from which every trace of him seems to have vanished. Ask, why have you forsaken me? I don't know, but I'm going to follow you anyway. Now that sends shivers down our enemy's spine. Go out and practice that today. Our good word for the day. Send a shiver down Satan's spine. Follow God implicitly when you can't see him, when you can't hear him. Jesus paved the way. All you got to do is follow. That's how you overcome the roller coaster of life. It's been a great show. Thanks so much for tuning in. Partners Workshop tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern, every Thursday night. If you're a partner, be there. Passport holder, be there. Not a partner, not a passport holder, hook up with me on Telegram right after the show at CFRN, the number 1, at CFRN, the number 1, and I'll make sure you're in that workshop tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern. Again, thanks for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with his mercy and with his grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading Emini Futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.